Hello everybody, Jordan Nelson here. Today is going to be a bit of a different video. I'm talking to the engaged couples out there, those who are just planning their wedding. So I'm going to talk about two things in this video. The first is why you should book a wedding videographer, just the value of that. And then two, what you should do if it does not fit in your budget. Okay, I know what you're thinking. A wedding videographer is telling you why you should book a wedding videographer. Seems like a conflict of interest. I get it. But I had a wedding of my own. When I married my wife, we did not book a wedding videographer. So I think I might have a bit of a unique perspective in that I've been providing these films for the past couple of years and seeing people's reactions and just the benefits of them and just kind of saying, man, it would have been really cool for me to have one and I want you to have one as well. So we're gonna talk about why and how you can do so. So I wanna clarify, I'm saying you want to book a videographer who provides you a wedding film or a wedding video, not just setting up on a tripod and playing through your ceremony. I'm talking more of the things that you would see on YouTube or online. You can see the videos on my channel, stuff like that. And I know when everyone's planning their wedding, one of the first things they think about is the photographer, and they're seen as indispensable to the wedding day. And I think that a wedding videographer should be right up there with that photographer. I'll explain why. You're probably very skeptical, just bear with me. All right, so why should you book a wedding videographer? First, I think you should just go online and watch wedding videos, and I think you'll kind of understand a lot of this when you watch. You just watch some of these and be like, I want one of those. Or even if you find like an amateur videographer, it doesn't have to be like one of those that has 100,000 views on YouTube and it just looks amazing and it probably costs $5,000 to get that videographer, that videography company. Even just something simple, something that captures the day. I think you'll kind of understand why it's such a great thing to have. But a couple specific reasons here. Wedding days can be a huge blur, just a lot happens in a short amount of time, and there are a lot of logistics that went into it. It's hard to remember all the things that happened, and it was hard to even see all of the people that are at your wedding possibly. Every wedding's different, but I know for our wedding, there were a lot of people that we barely even got to see. And a wedding film would help you be able to remember, even jog your memory, or just see people that you really didn't get to interact with a ton during the day, and just to have that to look back on your wedding day rather than just trying to remember what happened and it all happened so fast. You're gonna get something that's gonna help you to remember. Wedding films help capture emotion. Like you can see how you actually were, how you actually acted, just the feeling in the air that is around that wedding day. You can see that so much more clearly in a wedding video, especially if you're gonna put some dialogue or audio of the vows or personal messages over the top of the video along with music. That's another thing, is that wedding films bring a lot of dynamic pieces together so that you can feel that emotion more clearly. You have music, audio, the visuals, moving visuals where you're seeing what's happening. Wedding videos capture how you interacted with each other. So maybe when you're 60, 70 years old, you can look back at your wedding film and see how you and your spouse interacted on your wedding day and what you did and all the little details and who was all there and how everyone looked and moved, and just those memories I think would be really special to have. It's also great for those who could not attend the wedding to help them feel like they were there. I've heard that feedback in some of the films that I've done, is that people who weren't at the wedding felt like they were there and that they were connected to the people there and to you, and they were able to partake in the wedding celebration with you even afterwards while watching the video. I know you've probably heard this before, just like photography, this is something that you would have long after the wedding day's over, as opposed to, you know, the flowers and the decorations and the food. All of that will be gone once the wedding day is over, but you will have your photos and video for a long time. So when you look back many years from now, you can just find that wedding film, click play, and just watch and enjoy. And maybe it's something that you do every year, your anniversary, you watch your wedding film. It should be something really special that lasts far beyond the wedding day itself. And now what probably a lot of you are thinking, like, yeah, of course, I would love a wedding film. Like, that sounds awesome. Who wouldn't want one? But the reason why I wouldn't book one is because I can't afford it, or it's just non-essential. I know I've had my wedding videographer hat on, but now I'm having my regular guy who got married who could not afford a wedding videographer hat on. So I understand totally what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Jordan, all this is great. Now it just makes me feel worse that I can't afford a wedding videographer. So let me give you a few ideas here of how you could book one if you feel that you do not have the budget. So first, is a disclaimer, is that I would never ever tell you to go over your budget. I'm not gonna say, well, this is important enough to spend more money on. I don't know your financial situation, and I don't want to pressure you to spend more money than you have, than you can afford to spend. Like, I get the budget thing. So it's not my goal, it's not one of my ideas. So idea number one, take a look at all of the line items in your budget and all of the items that you are spending money on. Look at all of those short-term wedding day items. I'm thinking cake, I'm thinking flowers, I'm thinking decorations, I'm thinking DJ, something like that. So take all of those and put them up against what a wedding film would mean to you and where that falls in your priority. So all the benefits I just talked about and everything that you feel you would want in a wedding film and why you would want it, just line those up. Is this more important or is this more important? And see where a wedding film would fall. Now, if you decide that everything else is more important, that's awesome. You do you. Don't get a wedding film. That's fine. But if a wedding film does land high on your priority list, just consider finding ways that you can reduce costs on certain things or eliminate things completely. I've seen weddings where they did not have a wedding cake at all. Maybe they had desserts for food already, and then they had a cake as well. The cake cost $600. That $600 could go towards a wedding videographer. I'm not telling you to do that. If a cake is very important to you, get the cake. Just an idea though. Or a really expensive DJ. Maybe you go with a family friend, or you go with a laptop where you have a playlist that plays through. This is all assuming that a wedding film is so high in your priority list that you want to make it happen within your budget. So you're going to have to compromise in other areas. Figure out which areas you're willing to compromise in, and then see what you can do to either cut them out or reduce the cost for those specific areas. My wife and I had our wedding in a church and then the reception in the gym. We didn't have to pay location fees. We didn't have to pay $5,000 to have our wedding in this specific venue. Now, whatever you want to do for your wedding day, go for it. Just something to consider. And then the second tip here is you can find either super cheap or a free wedding videographer if it just does not line up with your budget. If you cannot make it work in there, you can find a free videographer. Ask around on social media, family and friends, just go out, put your feelers out, because there's probably someone out there who wants to get started doing weddings or does video work and wants to just get into doing video by starting with weddings, and you're probably not going to get a super high quality wedding film from them, but they would be willing to do it for free to have some work in their portfolio. It's not going to be something that you see on YouTube that looks amazing, but it's going to be something that still captures the day and the feel in video form. And I think that's something that's really special, and it's something that's past just setting it up on a tripod and showing the ceremony, but getting all of those, photo op moments as well. A free wedding videographer could do that. I'm gonna link the very first wedding video I ever did. It'll be in the link in the description below. It's also right up here. And that's the type of film maybe you could expect. If that's something that you want, go put feelers out. If that's something that you value, go see if there's someone out there who is in a place in their life where they could offer a wedding film for free because they're trying to get started. But with all that said, at the end of the day, what matters is that you two are married, and that marriage is intended to show the relationship of Jesus to his church, and it's something that is awesome and that God loves and that God created, and it's full of a lot of joy and celebration. And this marriage goes far beyond the wedding day. So while the wedding day is beautiful and God glorifying and really awesome, it really is just the beginning of how God intends to show his love and glory through the marriage relationship. And that's just a huge privilege and joy to be a part of, to be able to reflect his image and his relationship with us. So just remember that as you're planning, as there's so many logistics to think about, I get it, but really try to keep the main thing is that you are getting married, and it is very good, and that all these little details, they're all gonna fade away. I hope this video was helpful in any way, helping you think about why you should book a wedding videographer and how to do so if you don't have the budget. Thanks so much for watching. If you are a videographer, you can go ahead and share this with people who are trying to figure out if they should get a wedding videographer or not. If you like this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video.